Psychologist Paul Donahue is the author of Parenting Without Fear, and he's here to give us some thoughts on raising a generous child. Good morning to you, Dr. Donahue.
Good morning, Maggie.
You know what I think a lot of parents do wrong is they tell their child, no, don't do it that way, and forget to say, yes, do it this way.
That's right.
Isn't that so important?
It's so important to reward the good behavior.
Not so much punish the bad, right?
Exactly right. When we see them behaving well, we should say, hey, those small acts of kindness we want to pay attention to.
And what about interacting between kids? And because they not only learn from us, they learn from watching other kids. When they're around a child who has bad habits, how do you address that?
Well, I think we need to correct the behavior of all children. We shouldn't be afraid to step in and say, hey guys, cut it out. That's not the way we speak to each other in our home. We speak like this. We say please, we say thank you. We don't talk in that tone of voice.
Thank you. And you have a very pleasant tone of voice.
Thanks so much, Maggie.
Thanks.
Okay, terrific.
Appreciate
Thanks for
you being
having
here,
me.
Doctor.
Thank you.
When it comes to discipline, the most common mistake is parents threaten a consequence for a behavior and don't follow through. So if we say, listen, if you hit your little sister again, you're going to spend a few minutes in your room. And then that happens, as it often does, and we're distracted and we don't respond to that right away, the kids are going to feel like we really don't mean what we say. We don't mean business. And what kids will generally do, particularly little kids, they're going to test that out again to see if we do mean business. So one of the most important things is to follow through on what we say we're going to do. If we say it, we have to mean it.
Now back to Top 20 New Parent Tricks. The urge to develop your child's reading ability is strong, but be sure you're making learning to read fun. It's number 4.
We live in a world of competitive parenting, and if someone says my 3.5, my 4-year-old is reading already, we can feel pressure that we want them to be starting to read.
Oh, well, Ava's not reading yet? Oh, well, my son started reading at 15 months.
You know, the myth is if we can jumpstart our children to read when they're 4 or 5 years old, and if they're ahead of the game, they're going to finish ahead of the game. That's not really true. The more we can make reading fun, exciting, that's what it's all about. And that's going to instill in kids a love of learning and a love of reading.
Folks came into my office recently and I said, how are things going in your house? They're saying, oh, you know, pretty good. And I said, how do things go in the morning in your house? They said, well, you know, pretty good. Our son gets up and he comes downstairs. I said, and what about getting dressed? How does that work? He was 5 years old, their son. I said, how does it go with Sam getting dressed in the morning? And they were quiet for a few moments and they said, well, now he stands up when we dress him. Oh, he stands up now. Well, Sam's really making progress. Now, I said to them, or maybe I thought it and didn't say, but sometimes I do, you know, it's good to be the king. And it's good to be the queen, right? Who would want to give that up? The Sams of the world who are getting things handed to them, who are getting dressed. I, for one, would like to have a personal valet. I would love to have somebody, I have a dickens of a time with my ties in the morning, and I would love to have somebody tie me and straighten me, and that's not something my wife is going to do anytime soon. So, but I would love to have that, right? We should be expecting more of our kids. At a young age, I'm always saying to parents, they say, what's the one thing you can tell me? The one thing I can tell you is do less for your kids and expect them to do more. 3-year-olds should be putting their clothes in the hamper. They can make a go of getting dressed at 3 years old. Most kids can. They can fold back their sheets on their bed. They can put their plates in the sink. They can do all these things at 3 years old.